Tamara Lich was just released on bail yesterday. 1, was she treated fairly? And 2, would you agree with the same bail conditions that Tamara agreed to? How's it going, everybody? Ryan here. So we're going to be talking about the terms and conditions upon Tamara Lich's bail release. So if you like what you see, if you like what you hear, please be sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and my Facebook page, Real Ryan Kulbaba. And please subscribe to me also on YouTube, Rumble, and Telegram. Thanks, guys. Okay, so let's talk all things Tamara Lich today. So I'm going to preface this first by saying this isn't about whether you agree with what Tamara did, whether you agree with the Freedom Convoy, whether you're on the left or on the right, as there's people from both sides going to be watching this. If you have a view on the Freedom Convoy that the mainstream media has presented or that Trudeau has presented, that's not the point of this video. It's not the point of talking about, is Tamara controlled opposition? Does she have ties with the government? Can she be trusted? Therefore, because if you already view it like that, your view on what's happening is going to be skewed. You're looking at it from a lens already that I'm not looking at this out of. The point is to be objective and just discuss what happened. That's all. Okay? So was Tamara Lich treated fairly? So what was she actually in for? As far as from what I know, it was counseling to commit mischief. Not that she actually committed the mischief itself, counseling to commit it. Now, from what I understand, mischief is not a very violent charge. It is not a very high up there on the scale charge. It's basically blocking someone's enjoyment of a property. Basically, if you obstruct a road or a pathway and you're not allowing people to walk, or if you're blocking a road, something along those lines is generally what mischief is. Okay, so it's not whether to debate whether people were actually allowed to walk on the roads in Ottawa. Again, that's not the point. That's what she was in there for. Now, she was arrested, I believe, February 17th and just got released, I believe, March 7th. So she was in a cell, in jail, whatever it is you want to call it, for a good 18, 19 days for counseling to commit mischief. Now, obviously, before Tamara was arrested, there was a Winnipeg driver who plowed over a protester completely. It was on video, spread all over social media, and of course he got released on bail. It was like within a day. That seems to be okay in Canada. That's okay. And of course, we all know many more violent crimes have been committed where people have gotten bail a heck of a lot quicker. So, in my opinion only, was Tamara Lich treated fairly for being arrested and detained, I guess, for 18 days? No, of course not. Again, there were so many people that did so many more things, more violent crimes, and she was obviously being used, because Tamara and a few others, Tamara, Pat, and a couple others were basically the symbols of this Freedom Convoy. They were the faces, they were getting the most attention. So obviously our government and our justice system is using Tamara, and probably most likely Pat, as an example, okay? They're trying to do as much as they can to show, superiority, to show power, to make an example of these guys, saying, hey, if you're gonna do this again, this is what we're gonna do to you. It's not fair treatment if you just go by the law, if you just go by exactly what she was doing, peacefully protesting, freedom of expression, freedom to gather. That's really all she was doing, was organizing a peaceful protest. Okay? So if you take it what she just really honestly did, bias out of the way, whether you think she's this or this, doesn't matter. If you take it for what she did and then apply what's happening to her, 19 days being in jail or in court, whatever it is, for that, my opinion is that she was treated extremely unfairly, and she was obviously being made an example of, which is what obviously governments will try to do to people who oppose them on a grand scale as what happened in Ottawa. So taking for what she did, comparing it to other charges, to other people, comparing what happened to her, combine it all, my opinion only, she was treated very unfairly and obviously being made an example of by our government for future protests or future convoys that will oppose the narrative or that will oppose government. Okay? So, opinions of her aside, the crime does not suit the punishment in any way, if you even want to call it a crime, for assembling peacefully. I don't even think it was a crime. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's my verdict. Okay, so now let's take another talking point here and let's discuss, would you have accepted the same bail conditions that Tamara accepted? Okay? So it's one thing to just talk about the conditions. We all know what they are, and if you don't know, she was ordered to, upon her release, to leave Ottawa within 24 hours, leave Ontario within 72 hours, has to always report to the police. I don't know if it's daily, but she has to report to the police upon her arrival back into Ottawa. She's only allowed back into Ottawa for court appearances. She is not allowed on social media platforms. She is not allowed to have someone on her behalf post on her behalf to social media platforms, and she is not to be allowed to have any communication with any of the other co-organizers of the convoy. Probably a couple other stipulations in there, but that's basically the gist of what her conditions are right there. So, would you, if you were in her position, have accepted the exact same conditions for your release? Now, obviously, more morally and ethically, you know, there's people again on the left, on the right, that probably would say, oh yes, or oh no, of course not. But let's remember something here, guys. We are not in her position. It's easy for us to say on a microphone, to say in an armchair, to say in front of a screen, oh, of course not, I wouldn't have accepted that. That's a violation of my freedom to express. That's a violation of freedom of speech. No, I'm going to stand up for what I believe in. Obviously, it's easy to say that, but we are not in her position. We don't know what she's been through emotionally, mentally, how much this has taken a toll on her. She's a mother. She has family. She has children whom she probably hasn't seen in several weeks, being in Ottawa and then in jail, right? It's probably been a month and a half since she's seen any of her family or her kids. I do not have kids. I do not have a paternal instinct in me. Clearly, I don't have a maternal instinct in me either. So I don't know what that feeling is like. So I can't say what it would be like to, miss your kids for so long. I don't know what that's like. But I know other people have that feeling, okay? So obviously she was in there for a while. Obviously at this point, all this has taken a toll in many ways, obviously emotionally, mentally. Obviously, she wants to go home and see her kids and her family. So she accepted, of course. Morally and ethically, for me, obviously, I probably would have, again, not being in her position and not knowing what it's like to go through all this, I probably would have resisted at first. My moral and ethical compass would have said, no, I can't, because I don't agree with not being able to express myself on social media. No, I don't agree that I can't travel freely in Canada to another province. I mean, my morals and ethics would have led me to at least fight just a little bit. But of course, when you're behind bars or in a cell or wherever she was for 3 weeks, just about, you want to get out there. You just want to get out. You want to go home. You want to start living your life back. So of course, most of us, I think just about any one of us would have accepted, okay? Even though, we're kind of put between a very big rock and a very big hard place. Our morals, going home or staying in jail, what weighs more here? I think we would all just want to go home just like what she did. So no slagging on her for that whatsoever. But then, again, here, look at what they have done. Now, whoever they is, whether it's, you know, members in government, whether it's law enforcement, whoever they are that put these terms on her, I don't understand. I don't understand how you can restrict someone, restrict access to a social media account. She is not allowed to post on Facebook. She's not allowed to have access to her social media accounts. She can't communicate with any of the organizers, and she can't travel into Ontario. These are such violations of our basic charter rights of freedom to assemble, freedom of expression, free speech that she is being denied. I don't understand how this can be enforced. How can it be enforced? Does anybody know? I don't know. There's no law that says you cannot post on social media. There's no law that says you cannot travel into Ontario. There's no law. She's not committing a crime, and it goes against, completely, obviously, it goes against our charter. So I don't know how they can impose this on her legally. I don't know how the system works in this case. But it just goes to show you the level of power and authority that's when a government's trying to make an example of someone, look at what they're able to do. It's unfortunate. Again, bias aside, whether you like her or not, whether you agree with the convoy or not, look at it for what it is. Just take off those bias glasses and look at it for what it is. They're restricting her freedom of expression. They're restricting her freedom to travel. And it's like they are getting away with this legally. I don't know how they can possibly do that. But they are. So it's an unfortunate instance. However, this is the situation that we live in Canada right now. So who knows what will happen with Pat King upon his bail release. We will wait and see what happens with his release, if he gets released, what his terms are. And, you know, all we can do is just keep discussing and keeping our eyes open. So guys, okay, so again, if you like what you see in here, please subscribe to me. Facebook, Instagram, Telegram, Twitter, Rumble, YouTube, all those platforms. I'm on all of them. And we will be back again soon to talk more things, anything I want. So, thanks guys.